Coming up on today's show, Nintendo's latest showcase, everyone's back into Fallout, and Hades 2 has a playable build. What's good, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast, your source for video game news, commentary, analysis, and funny stuff every Friday. I am one of your hosts, Andrea Renee, joined by Miss Brittany Brombacher.
Hello! So I got a new purple hair mask. I'm just going to kick off with this.
Yes.
I'm realizing I left it on a little too long because my hair looks a little blue. Like, you see right here?
I think it looks cool.
Thank you. But I'm looking at it in the camera. I'm like, oh, it's like I got some blonde, some brassiness, and some purpley blue in there.
Oh, I was going to ask if you wanted me to start calling you the blue nerd instead.
Please do. And then my theme song can be I'm Blue by Eiffel 65.
Perfect.
All the young ones
It's literally
are
perfect.
Like, what does that even mean? Don't worry
I'm
about
blue, mama bean, I'm a
Okay, anyway, hi, hello. It's so good to be here. Hi.
It's so good to see you. I'm glad that we are able to do the show together this week because I know that you have a fun top secret game that we're going to be talking about a little bit later on. But we also have a big chunk of news that's right in your wheelhouse, which we will get to in just one moment before I say thank you to all of our members on Supercast and Patreon. If you haven't yet subscribed to our premium membership, you can do so at whatsgoodgames.supercast.com. We were in the process of finishing that transition, so thank you so much to everybody who has come on over. And thank you to our super producers, Bored Ape Gamers Club, Faris Attieh, Joshua Franklin, Justin Foshee, and Punkdefied. And welcome to our Supercast community, Sam Subak, Josh Liebert, Eric V. Rivera, Tara Waldrop, Emily Duhigg, and Matthew Holcomb. We appreciate you.
We do. So much.
We also appreciate the people who leave us a 5-star review because we know that not everybody has a couple dollars to send to premium membership, but maybe you have a couple minutes of your time. Brittany, who do we have this week?
S. Tyler Hoffman, who says, quote, just what the doctor ordered. Aw.
It was a very lovely review, and that was the title of it. So thank you so much for taking the time to write that. But if you don't want to take the time to write out a full set of words over on Spotify, you can just click 5 stars. Easy peasy. Boom. Done.
Yeah. Thanks.
Every little bit of support helps everybody. Just want to say that. So, Brittany, let's kick off this week's news with the Nintendo Indie World Showcase.
Hell yeah. This was at 7 a.m. this morning, Andrea, and I watched it later with my kid, and every game he thinks is Final Fantasy or Pokemon. Every single game. He's like, oh, this is Final Fantasy or it's Pokemon. So, not true, and I'll have to break his heart about that someday. But no, they had a really cute, like, 22-minute little indie world showcase this morning, and it was really wholesome. A lot of these games are just so unique and so different, and I'm so happy they exist. So I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but I think we should start off with what they started off with, which is Little Kitty Big City. And this is an adorable little game from Double Dagger Studio, and this comes from Eurogamer, by the way, a game which looks a lot like a game which looks a lot like with less of a post-apocalyptic vibe. Eurogamer, what are you smoking over there? Anyway, it's a very adorable game where you are this adorable little black cat in the city, and it kind of gives me Entitled Goose Game vibes because as you're running around, you have certain tasks you need to accomplish, like help the mayor get some sleep, or steal the fisherman's fish, or become an artist, which I can imagine only means like wreaking havoc in the city with some sort of paint. And then you also have what are called cat achievements. And this is stuff you'll do like get pet or knock things over. And there's over 40 cute hats the little kitty can wear and little emotes you can do, like this really big stretch we're looking at right now on youtube.com/what'sgoodgames. You can trip over people. You can steal their cell phones. It just looks like one of those adorable games that you just pick up and cause mayhem and continue on with your life. And thank God for games like that.
Yeah, I got the opportunity to play Little Kitty Big City at Summer Game Fest Playdays last year and had a bunch of fun with it. And it definitely looks way more polished in this trailer than it did back then. But of course, it has been several months. So as everyone knows who follows this show, I love cats and definitely am going to be checking out Little Kitty Big City when it does come out in just a couple of weeks.
May 9th, 2024, baby. The other cat game that we saw, and this was my Silk Song. I know everyone's always looking for Silk Song during these little showcases, and I totally get that, but mine was Cat Quest 3. I love the Cat Quest games. They are just like feel good. They're these adorable games where you start as like a little kitty cat, and you can be like a gladiator or like not gladiator, like a barbarian or a mage, and it's a little RPG, tons of customs options and a progressive system. Anyway, Jason and I played it during the peak of the pandemic, and it just was the most like wholesome memory because we had gotten away to the ocean and we're like, we need to get the fuck away from the world. So we rented an Airbnb in the ocean and we played Cat Quest for like 2 days straight before kids, remember when you used to be able to do that?
I sure do. I sure do.
So these games have a really special place in my heart. Anyway, so this is Cat Quest 3 and you get to explore the Caribbean in this one, and you get whiskered away in a hearty cat venture in Cat Quest 3, the third installment in the award-winning Cat Quest series. And for the first time in the series, you get to sail the seas and battle in your very own ship. I just love the colors of this game. I love the way the water looks. I like all the loot and the battle and all of it. I just need this right now. And thankfully, we did get a release date, and I believe it was August. Let me make sure these are not my notes. August. You know what? I didn't write the release date down, but we are getting it in August. So that makes me very, very happy. And I will be absolutely playing the crap out of this game. Look how cute it looks, Andrea. And it has local co-op.
You gotta love it.
You gotta love it. Look how freaking cute it is. Oh my God. So yeah, Cat Quest 3 for me was like my holy, like, ooh, yes, I'm so happy to see it. There's a bunch of other ones too that looked good. I think the one that people were kind of like, oh, this is interesting was TMNT Splintered Fate. So this is the very first, quote, radical roguelike adventure featuring our favorite little Ninja Turtles. And you travel through reality-bending time portals to save, you guessed it, Splinter. And it looks like it's going to be a lot like Hades. Now, my understanding is that this game is already on Apple Arcade, but it's been behind what people are calling Apple Arcade jail for I don't know how long now. But it sounds like it's finally coming out and it's finally getting to breathe on other systems, which is fantastic. It just looks really cute. And of course, it supports co-op, which is, again, like another great little perk to this. I just love roguelike games that support co-op. You would think there'd be more of them out there, and there are some good ones, but there's just not enough. And plus, it's with TMNT, so of course, even better. And of course, each turtle has signature weapons and stats, and you have your base, which is called the sewer home, and there you can further upgrade your little turtle friends. They did make a note, which I thought was interesting. They said that with currency you acquire in-game, you can upgrade and do other things and whatnot. And I thought that wording was kind of interesting, but then I think it made more sense when I realized that it had been on Apple Arcade before. I don't know if there were microtransactions in the original game. No clue. But I thought that was interesting wording. But that's the world we live in now, my dear Andrea Renee.
It sure is, Brittany. It sure is.
Want to hear another game that got me riled up?
Of course I do.
Okay. It's called Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. And so this kind of reminded me of old school like Resident Evil gameplay where it's like the third person, kind of like tank-like looking controls, spooky atmosphere, but you're just wandering around solving puzzles, and it looks like there's an actual story here. So it's like a woman summoned by a man to participate in a project in an old hotel somewhere in Central Europe becomes embroiled in a game of illusions, increasingly dangerous and surreal. Now you, the player, are invited to fall into the same rabbit hole in a non-linear mystery with an immense amount of handcrafted puzzles with new riddles to solve, each leading you closer to deciphering the enigma of Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. Now, if you're looking at this on YouTube, it looks like it's all in black and white, and the puzzles, I think I read somewhere that there's over 100 puzzles. I don't know because I haven't been able to confirm that, but it's all kind of in this black and white, like cel-shaded looking art style, and of course, red is the other prominent color you're going to see. And when you're having dialogue or making decisions, it's like the screen completely cuts to black and then all you see is the text in front of you, which is kind of an interesting vibe. I don't know, does this look like something that would interest you, or are you kind of like, it's a little spooky?
No, it's not too spooky for me, having ventured very deep into the spooky rabbit hole since starting this show with you way back when. I definitely have gone places that I never would have gone without you on my side being like, you can do it. But this just feels like more of like a spoopy puzzle game, even though I don't like to use that word very much. It definitely feels more like suspense than like horror.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. But that immediately caught my eye because I love those little puzzles, and it looks like, Resident Evil without zombies in combat.
Yeah, it's got a very interesting art style, and it kind of feels like it's blending a little bit of like walking sim with the puzzle. And so how those scenes are going to come together in like the exploration part, I think we'll have to see a little bit more of, but I'm intrigued. I would like to play.
Well, you can. You know, we can play it together. Look at, well, we really can't. It's not co-op, but you know, it can be like a book club. It's almost like we should start a podcast where we talk about video games we play.
What a great idea.
I know. There's a game that I thought of you, and I don't know if you've had the chance to see this trailer yet, but it's called Sticky Business.
Ooh,
And
yes.
this is a cozy mail order business management game where you make stickers, and out today on Switch alongside its DLC. And it just looks wholesome as fuck. So there's over 400 different elements you can choose from when you're creating your stickers. You can get upgrades for even more options. You can use glitter or other sorts of like customization. And from the vibe I get, it's like customers will ask you for different stickers, and each customer has a story that probably goes alongside like why they want the sticker they want. Anyway, then you can create the sticker and send it off. And it just looks like something, I don't know, I got the vibe that you would really, really like this game. It just looks super cute. So it's been out on Steam, and it sounds like it's been very popular over there. So now it is on Switch.
It definitely looks really cute, but it almost feels like it's got the creative element that I struggle with, but love watching other people really succeed at. Like when I was into Animal Crossing, I loved going to the Animal Crossing New Horizons subreddit and just finding everybody's QR codes and going to their islands and to their shops and using their designs. But I really struggled to create designs myself. I can follow a design tutorial, but coming up with something original was not really my forte.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. I mean, I believe in you. I'm just saying.
Aw, thank you.
You would excel at sticker making. I just checked on Steam, and yeah, it has 3,400 overwhelmingly positive is its review on Steam. So it came out last year. So hey, man, there you go. I think, again, like that's what I was saying earlier. So I'm glad games like this exist. Like it is just so random, and never once in my mind would I think to make a cozy business management sim about creating stickers. But it's brilliant. You know, stickers are fucking awesome, and I've learned to appreciate them now that I have a kid. And also
lots of stickers over here
when they're everywhere that I don't want them to be. Let's see. Another one that really stuck out. Actually, well, there's a few. Again, I'll run through these real quick. So there's one called Refined Self, the personality test game. And this is, again, another idea of a video game that I'm like, brilliant minds, definitely not mine. So this is an exploration-based adventure game, and you take on the role of an android. And it sounds like the creator, whoever made you, is no longer here. They are dead. They are worm fodder. But what you do is you move around this game, and you do actions. Every action, every choice you make, it reveals a little bit more about who you are as a person. There are no right or wrong choices. So you can travel to places, interact with other characters. Do whatever you want. And then at the end, they'll tell you what personality type you are. And there's 23 different types in this game. And you can compare your choices and personality decisions with other players. It looks like a pretty Game Boy game. It's like an interesting aesthetic, but it comes out summer 2024. And I don't know, just again, like I never would have thought of this as a video game, but here they are taking this cool concept and gamifying it. I don't know now, granted, like how much, and they did talk about it a little bit more, but again, I had my kid with me, how much science is behind this, if this is actually meant to give you your personality type, or if it's more like fun, tongue-in-cheek sort of thing that reinforces replayability to see if you can manage to get different personality types. But like, again, so like samurai is a personality type you can get. I think there was one in there called like savior, other ones. So I don't know, interesting, just very cute and different.
I feel like Nintendo's indie program in particular has such a unique blend of games that we don't typically see on the other platforms. I mean, each of the platforms has a robust indie offering now, which is wonderful. But I always think Nintendo's got some gems in there that you don't really see anywhere else.
Yeah, they really do. Really, truly. The other one I want to focus on real quick is Europa. So this is, oh, wow, like beautiful, beautiful game. So it started off with Helder Pinto, the creator of Europa, and he said that 6 years ago he wanted to start working on a game that in his spare time, so definitely a passion project back then, and he wanted to use watercolor to make people feel peaceful and zen and give them a meditative experience and get the player in a state of flow. So then they cut to the gameplay, and it is this gorgeous, beautiful world that actually reminds me of a condensed, maybe Tears of the Kingdom Hyrule. Like the colors, the lands, there's different biomes. It just looks beautiful. I mean, I would say it's more beautiful than Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild Hyrule, but that's just my little opinion. And I'm not sure how the traversal works, but if you watch the gameplay, you see the little dude like running, walking, and gliding, and I'm assuming that's where the flow of this game comes into play. I'm not sure like what the actual gameplay like entails or what the point of it is. I'm sure that information is out there somewhere. We just haven't had a lot of time to do a lot of deep diving yet. But doesn't this game just look beautiful? Ugh.
Yeah, the art is really neat. It's kind of got a combination of some top-down stuff and 3D, but yeah, definitely giving me Zelda vibes.
It's really pretty, really pretty. I would love if a game like this was co-op too. You know, I just feel like just vibing and just like flowing through the world together could be really cool. But alas, I don't know if it is, but it looks gorgeous, really, really cute. And then the one that I think a lot of folks are talking about, what the indie showcase ended on, wasn't Silksong again, friends. Sorry. It's SteamWorld Heist 2. And here's the blurb. The Nintendo Indie World Showcase with SteamWorld. Oh, that's cute. They did a little play on words there. Anyway, it's SteamWorld Heist 2. This adds naval combat to the long-awaited sequel and lets you recruit robots to your crew. If you missed the original, it's like 2D XCOM with real-time aiming and well worth a look. As for the sequel, it launches for Switch plus PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S on August 8th. I've never played SteamWorld Heist. I don't know much about this game, but it looks good. Looks pretty.
Same Z's.
Gorgeous. Yeah, I love the idea of the robot. So I was watching this with Jace, and he's like, "Oh, look at the monsters! Look at the Pokemon!" He's like, "They're fighting." It's like, "No, buddy, they're robot friends." He's like, "Oh," he was enthralled with this. Probably something to do with the color palette. But no, I mean, it looks really fun. Like there's tactical combat. You have all these little robot friends you can bring with you, and you can have lots of customization. And again, like it looks like a super duper cute game. I know I can see why people would be excited. Tons of items and weapons to choose from. But again, like, with what time am I ever gonna play this? I don't know. Plus, I'm gonna be too busy playing Cat Quest.
Yeah, it's tough because I think about where I'm spending most of my time gaming these days, and TBH, haven't picked up my Switch in a hot minute. I've definitely been playing Steam Deck if I'm doing something portable, and otherwise kind of splitting my time between my Xbox and my PlayStation. But it's tough when you see that a lot of these games are also going to be available on other platforms, and so you kind of have to ask yourself, like, where do I want to play some of these indie darlings? Like, where is the experience going to be the best? And obviously that's going to depend largely on which type of game, we're talking about. But I'm like still waiting for that thing. And I have my Princess Peach code. It's like sitting in my inbox waiting for me to play because I was very excited about Peach's new game. And I just like haven't picked it up in a while. But I know that our kids are quickly approaching the era where we're going to be able to start gaming with them, and all of the other parents out there that have kids that play video games, like a lot of people listening and watching the show have talked about the joy of being able to game with their kids and kind of relive some of the games we played when we were kids through their eyes. And I know that my Switch is absolutely going to be probably our number one platform for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Buy him a bummy ass Switch. As one of our, I can't remember who said that. We had a guest on once, and they said that they had bought.
It was Zombie Kills.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I think it was her son who had his own. She called his Bummy Island because she's like, he's not coming to my Animal Crossing island. You can have his Bummy Island on his Switch.
That's right. Oh god, that was funny. I am so looking forward to that. Every video game I play, I'm like, that's co-op. I'm like, oh, I can't wait for Jace to play this with us. It's going to be so much fun. But again, I was thinking, Andrea, about downloading the Paw Patrol video game and letting him run around on that one.
Oh no, we've just gotten into Paw Patrol at my house.
Oh, we have been in it. We just went to Paw Patrol Live last weekend.
What? That's so cool.
We all wore the Paw Patrol shirts, but I know there's a game, and a lot of parents have told me that their kid. I mean, I don't think it's a good game, but I think the kids are like, oh, it's my crew. But yeah. Ever need any advice on Paw Patrol, girl? I'm in it. I am balls deep into Paw Patrol.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to talk about that offline, lest we alienate our viewers who are like, please just don't sing the theme song. Which I'm going to resist, but is probably now in your head if you know about Paw Patrol. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for our first news block. When we come back after this quick break, we'll have some more headlines. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Let's get into this week's headlines, starting with Take-Two announcing layoffs. Publisher of Grand Theft Auto announced that it will be laying off 5% of its workforce, along with canceling multiple in-development projects. With over 11,000 global employees, that equates to roughly 550 people. It's part of their ongoing restructuring plan that is expected to cost the company close to $200 million, according to a new filing. The news comes just weeks after CEO Strauss Zelnick said they had no current plans to lay off staff. Perhaps the recent $460 million acquisition of Borderlands developer and publisher Gearbox put a little more stress on their balance sheet than expected.
Man, I'm sick of it.
Yes.
And I think when you see someone like Take-Two announcing layoffs, because, again, publisher of Grand Theft Auto, they're not hurting for money. I guarantee you they
are
got
not.
more money than they know what to fucking do with. And obviously laying off workforce, it's the worst. Like, these are people's livelihoods. It's how they support their family. We do know that this has just been standard practice for restructuring and et cetera, et cetera. Definitely not excusing it. But the thing I want to talk about too is the canceling of projects. And again, when you think about someone like Take-Two canceling projects, it just really shines the light on it's all about the money, baby. And we know that. And we knew that. So clearly, like, somewhere along the line, this game maybe wasn't panning out. Maybe the idea was really good, but then when you put pen to paper, it didn't flesh out the way they thought it had. They maybe thought there wasn't a future for it, or maybe the business model wasn't going to work good. But it's just like one of those things, man, when you have that much money and you're still canceling shit, it's just all about the money. And I know we know that, like I said, but it's still kind of a slap in the face. It's not like this is a small little indie developer struggling to find his feet.
Yes. I think that's the tough part, trying to balance my feelings on companies that are in the business of making creative projects have to cancel projects from time to time if the vision isn't coming together. But the idea of doing widespread restructuring and layoffs to bring the profitability percentage points up a couple notches is the gross part that keeps happening across not only the video games industry, but a lot of other industries across the world. And it's just getting tougher and tougher to accept as a reason. It's like, you still made a lot of money. Your revenue's in the black. So maybe you don't need to cut, Bob for marketing this time. Cut him when he, actually F's up something. We knew that a couple more of these stories would be trickling in at this part of the year, but this year has just been absolutely brutal for video game industry layoffs, and hoping it stops soon.
We're jaded as fuck, because we should be, because every time we see this, we see people walking out with big old fat pockets, and then we see people getting let go. And I think that's why every time we see something like this, we just jump to the logical conclusion I think anyone would be conditioned to jump to at this point. But yeah, we'll see what we say. What feels like every week. Hope everyone who gets laid off lands on their feet, finds a badass job, and lives a good life where they don't have to worry about being cut.
Yes.
Some more exciting news. Hades 2 technical tests are incoming. So the sequel to Supergiant game smash roguelike dungeon crawler Hades is about to start technical tests. They previously mentioned early access would begin in 2024, and signups are officially open. The new protagonist will be the princess of the underworld, who will face off against the Titan of Time. But who will be the hottest husbando in Hades 2? We'll have to wait to find out. Oh, that's the best part.
I was proud of that alliteration, the hottest husbando of Hades 2.
Good job, baby.
Thank you.
To sign up for the Hades 2 technical test, head to the Hades 2 Steam page and click the button marked Request Access. If you're invited to participate, you will receive an email from Steam with download instructions. Hell yeah. Oh my God. I immediately thought of Ree when I saw this news, and I'm just so excited. I'm so ready. That game awakened me sexually in a way that I cannot explain.
It's been very fun to go back and play. So I also have that on my Steam Deck, and I've just been kind of chipping away at it over time, even though, as I mentioned last week, Balatro's been really pulling my focus away from that. But my goal was to finish it before Hades 2 comes out. So I still got some time. This is
Okay.
just the technical test, and then they'll go into a wider, early access period, much like they did with the original Hades. At least that's what they indicated from some of their, public announcements that they've made so far about the game. But exciting news. We don't know when the final date of this is coming, but whenever it is, I'm sure everyone will be playing it.
I'll be ready. I'll get my tarp ready.
Speaking of everybody playing it, Fallout, ladies and gentlemen, has gotten a sudden surge in popularity because of the critically acclaimed Amazon TV series. The post-apocalyptic open-world RPG is seeing a surge across all iterations in the franchise, with Fallout 76 reaching its all-time peak on Steam last weekend with over 39,000 concurrent players. Now, as I mentioned, there have been surges in all installments, including mobile game Fallout Shelter, even getting a bump from the television series. Plus, the new gen update for Fallout 4 is dropping later this month for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. The update will bring a 60 FPS frame rate, increased resolution, stability improvements, and more fixes. If you're still playing on Xbox One or PS4, you'll also get a free update with stability improvements and other fixes. And don't worry, PC players, they aren't leaving you out either. Bethesda is adding widescreen and ultra widescreen support, along with game fixes to the creation kit and quest updates, and it's going to become Steam Deck verified after the update. Everything goes live on April 25th.
Hell yeah. You love to see it. I think that's fucking fantastic. Fallout 76, if this, I don't know what the ripple effect is going to be, but if it gets obviously it's getting a surge, but if it gets more legs, and I don't know how many people are playing it, I'd love to see Fallout 76 succeed. I've heard that it's actually quite fun now. Last time I played it, I think was right around the time it was coming out or releasing, or maybe before. And all I remember, Andrea, were T-poses everywhere. T-poses everywhere.
Yes,
everywhere
that game has made quite a turnaround since its original launch, and it's had a pretty robust community ever since, and they've been consistently updating it along the way. And if you haven't played it, now is absolutely a good time to get in. And Rihanna briefly mentioned her thoughts on the show on the Amazon TV series last week. And since then, I watched the first 7 episodes. I haven't watched the finale episode yet. And it is excellent. It is a very, very good.
Need to see. Okay, so I think she was the one who said that it's better than well, I don't know if she said it's better than Telu. I think she said it's the best adaptation. I think is like something along the line she said. Do you agree with that so far?
So far, I think it's up there. I think it's tough to, I don't know if I'd call it the best, because we've had some really wonderful adaptations, including the Super Mario Brothers movie, which was excellent, and the Last of Us television series on HBO was also excellent. I think what's missing about this is its ability to be relatable to people who have never played Fallout, haven't heard of Fallout, don't know about the campiness of Fallout and all of the different references. But if you've played even a smidgen of Fallout, you'll recognize so much. And it's just chock full of Easter eggs for really deep fans of the franchise. And more so, it's got a really great cadence of storytelling and a good mix of human moments and narrative bits, also with monster, scenes where you're fighting these crazy mutants. And it's just like it's a really great adaptation of what's in the series. And I'm glad that they've, already greenlit season 2, and it's coming back to California for production, which is great because the series is set in Los Angeles. And definitely excited to see more. I actually saw a story that I almost put in the rundown this week about how they're saving some really fan favorite items from the franchise for season 2, because I think a lot of people were like, where's such and such a thing? And I'm going to keep it, vague, so I don't give any spoilers about what is and is not in the first season, since it just came out. But essentially, I think after people have finished the finale, they're kind of like, but what about this thing that I know from Fallout that wasn't in there? And the producers have come forward to say, there's more Fallout TV series to come. Why don't you just sit tight?
Oh, that's awesome. This is great. This just makes me, I feel like we've turned a corner. The corner has been turned, and now there is a blissful field of successful movie, film, TV adaptations ahead of us. And that just makes me so happy.
Yeah, get out of the way, comic book nerds. It's video game nerd time.
Fuck yeah, bitches.
Just kidding. We can be friends. We can rise together. Rise of the nerds. All right, that's going to do it for this week's headlines. We're going to take one more quick break, and when we come back, Britt has details about a top secret game for your ear holes.
I do. Welcome back to the What's Good Games podcast. This is when we talk about what we've been playing or any preview events we have been to. And I have been to a preview event, my friends. It was online, but that's fine. That still counts. Okay, cue the video, Andrew Renee.
Okay,
cue
I'm
it
ready
for
to
me.
cue the video.
Let's cue it. All right, friends. Actually, this just was announced yesterday, if you're listening to this podcast on Friday, but I got to see it last week. After 6 years, my friends, Warhorse Studios is releasing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 this year to PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC. If you remember from 2018, you've been around for that long. I talked about this game at length. It was one of probably like top 3 games of that year. I loved it so much. It had a lot of bugs though, and eventually I rage quit. But what I did play, probably like 80 to 100 hours. I loved the shit out of it. I'm so excited that we are getting a sequel called Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. This game will once again follow Henry, and it will be a continuation of his shenanigans, but this game will be approachable for new players. So if you're like, yo, in 2018, I wasn't even born yet, what is Kingdom Come Deliverance? So it's a very unique game. So it's an action RPG, but what makes it stand out to me is that it focuses on realistic medieval and historical events of 15th century Europe. So it's open world and it's classless, meaning you can make Henry, your main character, excel at whatever you want him to, as long as you want to put the time in to build him up. And there are okay, here's my list. I made a list of things that this game does.
I love this.
Narrative choices, a deep customization system, dialogue trees, relationships with other characters, an advanced reputation system, a law system, mini games, crafting, lockpicking, pickpocketing, castle sieges, and even literally even more. And it's non-linear, so you can do the quests or complete the objectives in whatever way you want to. Anyway, that was just the first one. That is the first one that came in 2018. It has some of the most visceral, real combat that I've ever experienced. Again, it's all rooted in realism. Excuse me. Yeah, anyway, loved it. And so now we have the second one, right? The second one, you expect bigger and better. And that is exactly what Warhorse is going for. So what they said is that what we're making now is what it was supposed to be in the beginning. And now they can take this franchise to a whole nother level. And which is what, again, like what they've always wanted. Of course, every developer wants to be able to like fine tune their craft, right? And in my notes, I have that the first game was 11 people in a small office, and now they have 250 staff.
Wow.
And that is just like, right? That's so wild. And so I wanted to say that's what's in my notes because I don't want to misquote someone. I was taking notes fast and furious when they were talking about this, but that's what I have. This game is described as a behemoth compared to the first game, 2 times bigger than the last world with a longer story, and it is much, much bigger in scope. In the original, there were 3 hours of cutscenes, and now I think there's over 5. So we're going to get a lot more. I mean, granted, I think Baldur's Gate 3 had like 174 hours, but that is just like, you can't compare that to anything. But that's okay. Not every game needs to be Baldur's Gate 3, or God help me. So when it comes to Henry himself, so I believe he's in his 20s, and so he's a young chap. Remember our 20s, Andrea?
I sure do.
He is finding out. At least we both look like we're still in our 20s, right? Thanks, Botox. Henry is finding and discovering himself, and that is just the team's cute way of being like, you can make him again, like what kind of character you want him to be, you can make Henry that way. So you can build him in many different ways, kind of like the first one. Do you want to save the world or punish it for its sins? And that is a quote from the preview that I saw, and I really liked that. You can make Henry kind of do like whatever you want him to do. Do you want him to be really good at combat? Do you want him to be a sweet talker who can talk his way out of everything? Do you want to be a thief, a scoundrel? Do you want to like get drunk and murder people and evade the law? Or do you want to be a savior? It's just really your playpen is what this game is going to be. And everything you do will be recorded and remembered because there is a crime system. So the example they gave during the preview is if you're drunk and you're walking around, a little town or whatnot, people will obviously comment and you can say, I'm sorry, or tell them to piss off. And I kind of like the piss off option. But depending on, again, like because of this reputation system, how you treat people, maybe when you are drunk and wandering down the streets in the middle of the night, they're going to remember you and they're going to greet you differently. Like in the original Kingdom Come Deliverance, if you got into a spat with somebody and you maybe murdered them and maybe you have blood all over your weapon and all over your clothes, that is going to lower your charisma I think specifically with the nobility, or maybe everyone in general, it's been like a while since I played this game, but I remember it would raise your intimidation. So again, like your appearance and how you look and how you treat people, it's this very, very intricate system, and it's going to impact the way things play out for you. There's just so much going on. The locations, they're moving away from dark ages of death and famine. Again, that's what's in my notes. But this is a bohemian paradise with beautiful, lush urban countrysides to go and explore. And the majority of this game will be held in Hinterberg, which is mentioned in the first game, but you never actually get to go there. It's a huge city, huge area. In fact, I think it was the creator said it's too big. It's too big, and it was such a challenge, but they pulled it off and they did the thing. And what I loved about Kingdom Come Deliverance and what they touched on during this preview is that exploration is encouraged. So Warhorse wants you to go out and explore. You never know what you're going to find in the woods, what you're going to find in a castle if you decide you want to try to break in and see what's inside of there. They understand that exploration should be fun and rewarding. And they said that exploring will be serene and beautiful, and it will be full of secrets. And you get to see some of this. I'm assuming they're going to show the same video that I saw. And you just have all these beautiful lush fields and these flowers. And when I think about the first one, the images that come to my mind are like woods and dirt and mud. And I think, that plays into the story of the first one. But this time now it's going to be much more gorgeous and beautiful and just kind of serene to be in. They talked about combat, and just from what I saw, again, it's very, very rooted in realism and physics. They are adding crossbows this time and early firearms. So that's going to be fantastic. I'm excited to see. Oh yeah, I'm excited to see the skill trees and the progression and all that kind of stuff, because there is just so much in the first one. Like so many different things you can put your points into, and you can mold and craft your main character to be however you want. I am just beyond myself with excitement, Andrea. Like this is. I'll never forget when I saw this game for the first time. It was one of my very first E3s, and it was years, I believe, before What's Good even was a thing. And I remember I sat down there. It was a small little room with Warhorse, which, by the way, is like one of the most passionate and excitable freaking dev teams out there. I love that team so much. And I don't remember what the exact pitch was, but it was something like The Witcher without fantasy. It's all medieval Europe, 15th century, like I said, and it's just so much fun to be in that world. And there's so many side quests and characters. There's relationships. There's so much you can do. There at the first game, and I'm pretty sure this one's gonna have it too. There was a survival system. You have to eat, you have to drink, you have to rest, and if you don't, that'll impact. So there's a lot of sim elements to it too. Anyway, I am so excited. I can't believe it's coming out this year. Oh, that felt so good to get out. Thank you.
Absolutely. I love a Brittany passionate preview about something that you're super excited about. And, we don't get a lot of medieval games that don't have fantasy elements in it. Obviously, there's been a couple, over the last few years, but I think that they're clearly doing something a bit different. And I'm really interested to see where they've progressed in gameplay and systems and mechanics since the original game, because I think that's, to me, always a really fun part to watch of a studio's growth and see hey, what did you take away from your first experience, from your community feedback, from the learnings at your studio, and put that into making the next one even better and bigger, splashier, fancier.
Yeah, absolutely. And their community, I'm glad you brought that up, has just been so involved and vocal, and they have such a fun relationship with their community. So yeah, I'm really excited to see all of that too. And I did not expect this game to come out this year. We hadn't really, the game just got announced, right? And so I was expecting maybe next year, but if the same game does come out this year, man, this very well could be top 3 for me again. Easily, absolutely easily. It's just a time sink in the best way possible, and I'm craving a game like this right now. So
ooh, exciting.
So excited. Oh my God. I still think about Kingdom Come Deliverance, literally weekly, right? I want to go back and play it again. And I've been thinking about it even before the announcement, because it's just one of those games that it made me feel so good when I was playing it that I'm I want to go back to that. But haha, life.
Haha, life says, no, not for you. Not today. Not happening. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you got to see this and check it out, and hopefully you'll get to get hands on it relatively soon and live out your best medieval night fantasies.
I will.
We do have, some other stuff that's under embargo that's coming over the next couple of weeks. But I did want to mention some of the GDC stuff that I didn't get the opportunity to mention before, just quickly. Got to see a lot more from Dune Awakening, the MMO RPG that I mentioned on the show about a month ago now. Looks incredible. All of the systems, everything. I didn't get to play it, but I got to see a little bit more of the gameplay in a behind closed doors session with Funcom. And my biggest takeaway from everything that they were talking about in that meeting was we're trying really hard not to have any Funcom jank in the game. which I thought was so funny and also poignant, because he was talking about the pressure the studio is under now, given the incredible success of the feature films, because they started production on this game before Dune Part 1 was really even under production itself and before the movie came out. And then that did well, but then Part 2 came along and did even better. And now he's like, we have all of this pressure at the studio to like not, muck it up and not put out a game that isn't going to honor what the feature film franchise is now doing. He's like, we want to like go toe to toe with their success, of course. And so the studio is trying really hard to kind of do even more polish than they have done previously. And I thought that was like a really interesting tidbit and thought that that's, a really great motivator for them as a studio to say like, hey, we see that fans are really excited now. Maybe they weren't before. And now like, let's see if we can rise to the occasion. So I thought that was really awesome.
No pressure.
I also got to see Epic Mickey Rebrushed. I know we had talked about that when that was announced. And I thought that was really cute and definitely brought me back to the original. It definitely felt more like a faithful recreation, but they did remake all of the art assets. So they are calling it a remake, but they didn't like add a bunch of narrative things or make a bunch of new puzzles or anything like that. It's pretty much like a faithful recreation in terms of level design and pacing, but all of the art is brand new, and it definitely played great when I was playing it on Nintendo Switch because I saw these at the Nintendo partner preview event. But the biggest thing that I was excited about that I played, got hands-on with, was at the ID at Xbox Showcase, and it was Dungeons of Hinterberg, which we saw at the Xbox Showcase last summer.
You've been excited about this for a while.
Yes. Yeah, so it's coming sometime in 2024. So no release date yet, at least as of right now, but the game looks just as good and just as charming as it did when we first saw it, and I got to play a pretty lengthy demo. It was such a long demo, in fact, that I kind of had some guilt that I was on the station for so long, but I was like, no, man. Like, I put my quarters down, and
that's right.
Well, you almost had to like get in line because they had one station for it, and everybody wanted to play it. And
yeah.
So for people who are like, what the heck is Dungeons of Hinterberg? It's a cross between like a monster hunting dungeon crawler, but also a social simulator. And so you have your nights out crawling dungeons and killing monsters, and then during the day you're back in the village meeting people, creating relationships, and each of the relationships that you create kind of gives you certain kinds of buffs and abilities, and then you can get upgrades and all these things and get these perks. And it's set in this what is it called, like a Scandinavian town, and you're in the mountains, and it's just, the art style is super charming, and this like snowboarding mechanic for traversal is really smooth and lots of fun. And I just had a lot of fun playing the game and using all of the different mechanics, and just overall, like, I just want to play this game. It just was a really good time, and I am very glad that I finally got to get hands-on with it.
I feel like the gameplay loop is going to be incredibly addicting, because you send your people out. That in itself is like one of my favorite things. And then you have this whole social element to it, and you get rewarded for the relationships you build.
Yeah.
Summer 2024. Cool. Add it to the list. I want it. It's pretty.
Yes, it's going to be a good summer for gaming. Remember when there was a time when summer had like no games? It was just like bleak, because all of the game publishers are like, nah, everyone's on vacation. Everyone's going out doing things. And now it's like games.
Make that money, you got people in the suits up top being like, we need more games all the time so I can buy 10 more yachts. That's right. But sorry, Bob and marketing, you gotta go because I gotta get prettier numbers and make my investors look good so I can buy more yachts.
I love this. This is the best.
You know,
Also, didn't
That's how
peg you for a yacht girl, but knowing your affinity for fishing, I clearly should have just guessed it.
you know, fucking CEOs, they gotta have 10 yachts.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. That's the word on
You
the
know
street.
what?
You got to lay off 10% of your workforce so you can buy another yacht.
But Jason's a CEO, and where's my fucking yacht?
Get on it. Get on it, Jason.
God, I'm married to a slacker. Jesus.
Just kidding, Jason. We love you. You're the best. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for our episode for this week. Thank you so much for joining us, and keep your eyes peeled for details on our upcoming 7th birthday anniversary What's Good Games stream, which is happening in just a few weeks. So we'll be making a formal announcement about those details soon. And thank you to everybody who is supporting our show, both on Supercast and Patreon. And we hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you next week, everybody. Bye.